A long, long time ago, before white people came to Africa, there was a kingdom called Ime-Ano. Ime-Ano was not ruled only by a king. It was ruled by old laws and scary spirits that lived in the forest. Around the kingdom were 3 big forests. One was called Ojimiri, where river spirits sang. Another was Idemali, where powerful priestesses lived. But the scariest one was the Forest of Echoes. No one who went into that forest ever came back the same. The kingdom had many rules. But the most important rule was this: twins are bad. Twins must die. The old people believed that when a mother had twins, it meant the gods were angry. They thought twins opened a door between the living world and the spirit world. So whenever twins were born, men would take them away in the night. They would carry the babies to the Forest of Echoes and leave them there to die. The mother was not allowed to cry. The father was not allowed to say no. This was how things had always been. Until Omiago came. Omiago was once a happy woman. She was beautiful and kind. She married a strong warrior named Ikemba. Everyone said they were the perfect couple. But happiness did not last. When Omiago had her first baby, she did not have one baby. She had 2 twins, 2 little boys. The old men of the village came and took them away before she could even hold them. By morning, her babies were gone forever in the forest. Omiago cried for many days. But her body kept making babies. She got pregnant again. And again. And again. Every single time, she had twins. Girls. Boys. More girls. More boys. 5 times she gave birth. 10 babies in total. And every single time, the old men took them away to die in the forest. After the 5th time, people started to say bad things. Omiago is a witch, they whispered. She is cursed. She is bringing evil spirits to our village. We should throw her out. Or kill her. Ikemba still loved his wife. But he was scared too. He wondered if maybe the village people were right. When Omiago got pregnant for the 6th time, everyone in the kingdom was afraid. What would happen now? There was a very old woman who lived deep in the forest. Her name was Ovwell. Some people said she was 1,000 years old. Some said she was not human at all, but a spirit dressed like a person. When the old men heard that Omiago was pregnant again, they called Ovwell to the village. She came on a dark night with no moon. She wore white paint on her face and shells around her neck. Her eyes were cloudy and white, but she could see everything. A big fire was lit in the village center. Omiago was brought out, her belly huge with baby. Her hands were tied with special vines. Ikemba stood beside her, his hand on his big knife, but he knew he could not fight spirits. Ovwell walked in a circle around them. She hummed a strange song. Then she stopped and stared at Omiago's belly. "This baby is different," Ovwell said in a creaky voice. "What comes out of this woman will either save the kingdom or burn it down." The old men started shouting and arguing. Some wanted to kill Omiago right now, before the baby came. But Ovwell raised her hand and everyone got quiet. "Twins born from great sadness will walk when war eats the sun," Ovwell said in a loud, scary voice. "They will carry the weight of forgotten souls. And the mother who keeps them alive will open the gates for the old gods to come back." Omiago's heart beat very fast. She did not know if this was good or bad. But she knew one thing for sure, she would not let them take her babies this time. Bad things were happening in Ime-Ano. War was coming. Everyone could feel it in the air. The kingdom's neighbors, people from a place called Nui, had been attacking small villages. Food was running out. The rivers were drying up. And the king, whose name was Izokoye, was old and weak. He could not protect his people anymore. Ikemba stood on a hill, watching his fellow warriors train with spears down below. But he could not stop thinking about his wife. She was locked in their house, her belly so big she could barely walk. He remembered what the old woman said. He saw how scared the old men were. But most of all, he saw something in Omiago's eyes that frightened him. She looked angry. Very, very angry. Like she would fight anyone who came near her babies. That night, when they lay down to sleep, Omiago whispered to him, "If they try to take my babies this time, I will kill anyone who touches them. Even you." She had a sharp knife hidden under the mat. Ikemba said nothing. He just stared at the ceiling and wondered if his wife was still human or if she had become something else. Far away in the forest of echoes, something strange was happening. The bones of Omiago's 10 dead babies began to shake and hum. At midnight, when the moon was red like blood, Omiago's pain started. She grabbed her belly and cried out. Ikemba jumped up. He started to call for help, but Omiago grabbed his arm tight. "No," she said through her teeth. "No helpers. No old men. Nobody. But you cannot do this alone. I will not let them take my babies," she screamed so loud the whole night shook. Ikemba locked the door. He did not call anyone. He did not light any torches. And as Omiago pushed and screamed to bring out the baby, Ikemba stood with his big knife ready. He knew that what he was doing was against all the laws. He knew he would be in big trouble. Outside, people were waking up. Torches were being lit. Voices were calling. The old men were coming. Omiago pushed hard. She screamed. She prayed. And then the first baby came out, crying loud. Ikemba caught her in his shaking hands. A baby girl. Beautiful and alive. His heart hurt with happiness and sadness at the same time. Then the second baby came. Another girl. Twins. Again. But this time, Omiago did not cry. She smiled a scary smile and said one word, "Run." Ikemba wrapped the twin babies in cloth and tied them to Omiago's back. She was still bleeding and very weak, but her eyes were burning bright with determination. Outside, people were banging hard on the door. The old men were shouting. They wanted to come in. "There is a back way out," Ikemba said. "Through the barn. Into the bushes. If you run now." "Come with me," Omiago begged, holding his arm. Ikemba looked into her eyes. For a moment, he wanted to say yes. But then he heard the old men calling his name. He knew that if both of them ran, everyone would hunt them like animals. Someone had to stay. Someone had to give her time to escape. "I love you," he said, putting his forehead against hers. "Now go. Run." Omiago ran. She ran through the barn, through the tall grass, her body hurting everywhere, her new baby daughters crying on her back. Behind her, she heard the door break open. She heard Ikemba shouting and fighting. She ran toward the one place nobody would follow her. The Forest of Echoes. The moment she stepped into the forest, everything changed. The air became cold. The trees bent down like they were reaching for her. And all around her, she heard voices. Whispers. The voices of her 10 dead babies calling, Mama. Mama, why did you let us die? Omiago fell to her knees crying. She held the living twins close to her chest. I will not let you die, she promised them. Not you. Never you. Deep in the forest, something laughed. Omiago walked for a long time in the forest. Time felt weird there. The sun never really came up, and it never got completely dark. It was a place stuck between the world of living people and the world of dead spirits. She walked past trees with old blood on them. She walked past places where small bones were laid out in strange patterns. And then she saw them. Her 10 dead babies. They were standing in a circle, glowing like quick lights. Their eyes were empty but they could see. They just stood there, watching her. Waiting. I'm sorry, Omiago cried. I'm so sorry I couldn't save you. One of the ghost boys walked closer. His voice sounded like wind blowing through dry grass. You can save these new ones, Mama. But you have to pay a big price. What price? Omiago asked. A ghost girl spoke next. The forest wants something. Life for life. To keep them alive, you must give up something precious. Omiago looked down at the twin girls on her chest. Both were sleeping, not knowing about the danger. I'll give anything, she said. Anything. The ghost children looked at each other. Then the oldest boy said, you must give up your name, your past, your home. If you leave this forest with them alive, you will be haunted forever. You can never go back to the village. You can never see Ikemba again. You will become like a ghost yourself. Omiago closed her eyes. She thought about her husband, about her home, about everything she loved. Then she looked at her baby daughters and said, okay, I agree. The ghost children nodded. One by one, they started to disappear like smoke. But before the oldest boy was completely gone, he whispered, be careful. The old woman of well knows where you are. And she is coming to find you. Back in the village, Ikemba was on his knees. His hands were tied. His face was bruised and bleeding. The old men stood around him in a circle. In the center sat the king, Izokoye, wearing leopard skins and beads. His eyes were tired and cloudy. You have betrayed your people, said Onukochi, the oldest of the old men. You helped an evil woman escape with cursed babies. You have made the gods angry. I protected my wife, Ikemba said quietly. Your wife is cursed, another old man yelled. She has given birth to demons 6 times. And you helped her run away with the 6th pair of devils. They are my children. Ikemba shouted, jumping up even though his hands were tied. They are innocent babies. Onukochi hit him hard across the face with a stick. Ikemba fell down. Blood came from his mouth. Twins are never innocent, the old man said coldly. They only bring chaos and death. The king raised his shaking hand. "Ikemba," he said in a weak voice, "you were once a great warrior. But you chose your wife over your kingdom. Now you must be punished." "What punishment?" Ikemba asked, looking up. "You will lead the hunt," Onukochi said with a mean smile. "You will go into the forest of echoes. You will find your wife and those evil babies. And you will bring them back so we can kill them. Or you will die trying." "No," Ikemba said. "Or," Onukochi continued, "we will send other warriors to do it. And when they find her, they will not be nice. They will cut her into pieces and burn the babies alive. You choose." Ikemba closed his eyes. He thought about Omiago, scared and bleeding somewhere in the dark forest. He thought about his baby daughters, so small and helpless. And he made up his mind. "Give me 3 days," he said. "I will find them." But in his heart, he was already planning something different. He was going to save them, not bring them back. The old woman of Well did not sleep. She did not eat like normal people. She was kept alive by something old and dark and scary. When the old men told her that Omiago had run away, of Well smiled a terrible smile that made even brave men scared. "The gate is opening," she whispered. "Can't you feel it? The old gods are waking up. And she is the key. We need to find her," Onukochi said. "Can you tell us where she is?" Well nodded. She walked to a pool of black water that showed no reflection. She put her hands on the water, and it started to move. Pictures appeared. Omiago stumbling through the forest. The twin girls crying. Ghost children circling around. "She has made a deal with the forest," Well said. "The forest has claimed her. But the babies are still weak. If we hurry, we can break the magic before it gets strong." "What do you need?" Onukochi asked. "Blood," the old woman said. "And fire. And warriors who are not afraid to die." By morning, 12 strong fighters were ready. They all had big knives and were marked with white paint. And leading them was Ikemba, pretending to hunt his wife, but secretly planning to save her. Deep in the forest of echoes, Omiago had found a cave. The walls had old drawings on them, spirals and handprints and symbols she could not understand. She had torn her clothes to wrap her wounds, but she kept bleeding. She was dying slowly. But her baby daughters were still alive, drinking milk from her, and that was all that mattered to her. She heard footsteps. Her heart jumped. She grabbed a sharp stone and held it up, ready to fight, ready to die if she had to. But the person who came out of the shadows was not a warrior. It was a woman, or something that looked like a woman, covered in moss and vines. Her skin looked like tree bark. Her eyes glowed like fireflies. "Who are you?" Omiago asked in a weak voice. "I am Manu," the figure said. Her voice sounded like leaves rustling. "I am a spirit of the forest. I protect forgotten souls. Have you come to kill me?" "No," Manu said. "I have come to give you a choice." "I already made my choice," Omiago said, holding the stone tighter. "Not this choice." Manu knelt down beside her. Where her hands touched the ground, flowers grew. "Your babies are marked. They carry the spirit of 10 lost children. If they are going to live, they must be tied to the forest. They must become something more than human. Something the old men cannot kill. What do you mean? Omiago asked. A blood promise, Manu explained. Your blood. Their blood. The blood of the forest mixed together. They will live, but they will never be completely yours. They will belong to the old gods. They will walk between the living world and the spirit world. And when the time comes, they will make the prophecy come true. Omiago looked down at her tiny daughters. What prophecy? What eats the sun? Manu whispered. And twins born from sadness will walk. They will break the old traditions. They will open the gate. And the kingdom will never be the same. Tears fell from Omiago's eyes onto her daughters' faces. But will they live? Yes. Then do it, Omiago said. Manu smiled sadly. She took a thorn from her hair and pricked Omiago's finger until blood came out. Then she pricked each baby's finger. She mixed all the blood with sticky sap from the trees and said words in a very old language. The cave filled with light. The twins' cries became strange, not quite human, not quite spirit. And when the light went away, they had changed. Their eyes glowed softly in the dark. Their skin shimmered like water in moonlight. It is done, Manu said. But know this, Omiago, you paid a price. You can never leave this forest. If you do, the magic breaks, and your babies die. Omiago nodded. She felt numb. I understand. Outside, war drums echoed through the trees. The hunters were getting close. Ikemba walked in front of the hunting group. His mind was racing. He had to find Omiago before the others did. He had to warn her. He had to. Suddenly the forest opened up into a big clearing, and there she was. Omiago, sitting on a fallen tree, her baby daughters in her arms, her eyes empty and far away. Omiago, he shouted and ran to her. She looked up. For a moment, she did not seem to know him. Then her face crumpled. Ikemba, she whispered. He fell on his knees in front of her. You have to run. They're coming. They are going to. I can't run anymore, she said softly. I'm tied to this place now. What? Before she could explain, the hunters burst into the clearing with their weapons ready. Onyokochi stepped forward, his face twisted with anger. Grab her, he commanded. The warriors moved forward, but Ikemba stood up, his big knife flashing in his hand. No one touches her. Get out of the way, Ikemba. Onyokochi yelled. This is what the gods want. The gods are wrong. Ikemba roared. And I will not let you kill my family. The first warrior attacked. Ikemba's blade cut his throat. Blood sprayed everywhere. The forest exploded with fighting. Metal hit metal. Men screamed. And Omiago, holding her daughters tight, began to sing a low, haunting song that made the trees sway and the ground shake. The ghost children appeared. All 10 of them, glowing and fierce, singing with her. The warriors froze, terror on their faces. And then the forest itself came alive. Vines shot out like whips. Roots burst from the ground. Trees bent and twisted, trapping men in wooden cages. Onyokochi backed away, his face white with fear. Witch, he screamed. Demon! Omiago stood up, her daughter still in her arms, her eyes blazing bright. I am a mother, she said, her voice echoing through the whole forest. And you will never touch my children again. The forest swallowed Onukochi completely. He was gone. While Omiago was fighting in the forest, the village of Ime-Ano was burning. The enemy from Nui had attacked at sunrise, destroying villages and killing people. Warriors fell. Women and children ran away scared. And then, when the sun was highest in the sky, something impossible happened. The sky went dark. Not with clouds, but with a creeping shadow that ate the light. The sun was disappearing. Slowly. Like some giant monster in the sky was swallowing it. Everyone panicked. Warriors on both sides stopped fighting and stared up at the sky in horror. Men dropped their weapons and ran. The Nui enemies fell on their knees, praying. And in all this chaos, a figure walked out of the forest of echoes. Omiago. Walking slowly, calmly, her twin daughters tied to her back, their eyes glowing like stars. Behind her came an army. Not of men, but of spirits. The forgotten children of Ime-Ano, every twin killed over hundreds of years, every soul left in the forest to die. They marched in silence, their bodies flickering between solid and see-through, their presence terrifying. Ikemba, bloody and exhausted, stood at the edge of the forest and watched his wife walk toward him. She was not the woman he married anymore. She was something else now. Something powerful. Something scary. Omiago, he breathed. She stopped in front of him. It's over, Ikemba, she said softly. The old ways end today. And the spirit army swept past them, flowing into Ime-Ano like a flood. The old men had gathered in the sacred village center, desperately doing rituals to bring back the sun, to make the gods happy, to stop whatever terrible thing was happening. But when they saw Omiago coming, surrounded by the spirits of dead children, their prayers turned to screams. You cannot be here, the old men cried. You are cursed. You are damned. No, Omiago said, her voice carrying across the whole square. I am free. And so are they. She pointed to the ghost children, who surrounded the old men like wolves. One old man tried to run. A ghost child grabbed him, and he turned into dust instantly. Another old man pulled out a knife. It went right through the spirits like they were smoke, and they tore him apart with ghostly hands. The king, Izokoye, fell on his knees before Omiago. Please, he begged. Spare us. Spare the kingdom. Spare you. Omiago's voice was cold as ice. You, who took 10 of my babies. You, who made me suffer endlessly. Why should I spare you? Because, a voice said from behind her, that is not who you are. She turned around. Ikemba stood there, hurt and broken but still standing. Omiago, please. Enough blood has been spilled. End this. But not with more death. Omiago looked at her husband, at the ruins of her kingdom, at the ghost children waiting for her command. And slowly, she breathed out. You're right, she whispered. Enough. She raised her hand, and the spirit stopped. The darkness began to fade. The sun came back, pale and weak but there. And Omiago turned to the old men who were still alive and spoke words that would be remembered forever. The law that killed my children is broken. From today, twins are no longer bad. They are blessings. And anyone who hurts them will answer to me." The old men, too scared to argue, nodded yes. The war ended not because anyone won, but because everyone was too tired. The new enemies went back home, scared by the strange eclipse and the stories of ghost armies. Ime-Ano slowly started to rebuild. The king stepped down, ashamed and broken, and young warriors took over leadership. Ikemba was one of them, though he no longer lived in the village. He chose to stay with Omiago in the forest. She could not leave, the blood promise kept her there, tied to the trees and the spirits. But Ikemba built them a home at the edge of the forest, where he could walk between both worlds. Where he could be with his wife and daughters, even if it meant living away from everyone. The twin girls grew fast. Too fast. By 1 year old, they could talk in full sentences. By 2 years old, they could call spirits with a whisper. Their parents loved them, but everyone else was afraid of them. Omiago taught them to be strong, to be proud, to never bow down to traditions that wanted to destroy them. But the prophecy was not finished yet. One night, as Omiago sat by the fire, Mamu the forest spirit appeared. "The gate is open," she said. "The old gods are coming back. Your daughters will be their vessels." Omiago's blood turned cold. What does that mean? It means they will never be ordinary. They will carry the weight of change. And when the time comes, they will have to choose, stay with you, or go into the world and change it. Can they do both? Manwu smiled sadly. "No, Omiago. That is the cost of the promise. You saved their lives. But their destiny was never yours to control." Omiago looked at her sleeping daughters, tears running down her face. "Then I hope they choose wisely." Many years passed. The twin daughters of Omiago grew up and became legends. Some people called them witches. Others called them saviors. They walked through Ime-Ano untouchable, their eyes glowing softly in the dark, reminding everyone of the old laws that had been broken. They healed sick people. They talked to dead spirits. They helped solve arguments with wisdom beyond their age. And slowly, people began to see twins not as bad things, but as gifts. Other mothers who had twins no longer cried in fear. They celebrated. The forest of echoes, once a place of death, became a holy place, where people left gifts for the ghost children who had saved the kingdom. Omiago never left the forest. She grew old there, her hair turning white, her body bending with age, but her spirit still strong. Ikemba stayed by her side until he died, and when he passed away, the forest claimed him too, turning him into one of its guardians. On the night Omiago finally died, her daughters sat on both sides of her, holding her hands. "Did I do the right thing?" she whispered. "Yes, Mama," they said together. "You gave us life. You gave us freedom. You gave us a future." Omiago smiled. And as her eyes closed for the last time, the ghost children of the forest gathered around her, singing her name, welcoming her home.